Good morning. My name is Clifford Broadway. I am also known online as QuickBeam. I am a blogger and now doing a video podcast for theonering.net. And of course, this man here on my right doesn't really need an introduction, but he's going to get a quick one. My pleasure to introduce our old friend, Oscar winner Richard Taylor.
And this is a quite interesting experience here, as we have Richard Taylor here, who knows all these secrets in his head. He knows them all, and he'll giggle a little bit as we speculate on some of the items about the Hobbit.
Mr. Jackson has returned. He's here at Comic-Con this year, which is exciting, but he is still involved with The Hobbit. It's very important to give some continuity from his trilogy of movies, which took the world by storm, to this new pair of movies. And of course, Guillermo del Toro, who we can talk a lot about as well. Fantastic director, creative and imaginative, and quite a vision he has.
Yes, we definitely know that Howard Shore has spoken publicly confirming that he's going to come back to do the orchestration and music score for the film. So if we get to that point in the story where Bilbo reaches on the ground and his hand accidentally, or perhaps by divine providence, when his hand stumbles across that little gold band in the dirt of Gollum's cave, don't be surprised if you hear the na na. Oscar-winning writers who have contributed to the previous trilogy: Philippa Boyens, Fran Walsh, who is partner and wife to Peter Jackson, and Guillermo del Toro himself, co-writing this adaptation, a two-film enterprise.
Remember, this is an unauthorized, unofficial look at The Hobbit.
Yes.
The screenplay has been worked on hard and long for months in many forms, and people are anxious to hear about casting, but it's really important to have a screenplay in hand, to have a budget laid out, to know how long the shoot's going to be, to know when you start, when you stop, when you do publicity. All those things are important to know before you can announce and hire actors. So why don't we know? Because they're still working on the script.
And based on a release in the holiday season of 2011.
So Ian McKellen has actually said he's very happy to come back to play the role of Gandalf. Keith, did Ian say anything in particular to you about this mischief?
Well, I just found out a couple days ago that I'd be here. The first thing he said was he expressed some concern for my personal safety. Because somehow he's gotten this idea that wherever he and I go, thousands of Lord of the Rings fans rush in to greet us. He doesn't realize it's all for him. But then I thought I'd write to Ian and Andy and see if they had anything in particular that they might want to say to you guys. You know, if I'd written and said, I'm going to the White House tomorrow to meet with President Obama, I probably wouldn't have heard back from him. But as soon as I said Comic-Con, both Andy and Ian got right back to me. Ian first. 7:14 last night, which would be about 2:15, 3:15 in the morning in London. You gotta give the guy credit. 70 years old, and at 2:15 he's tending to his limit. But you know, he's doing a show in London now with Patrick Stewart called Waiting for Godot. And so they're working every night, and it takes a while to wind down. So Ian's message is, just tell them I'm waiting for the call from Middle Earth. And Andy, gosh, just an hour or two later, he's been wandering around Europe, he says, camping with his family the past couple of weeks while his little place in Italy is being reconstructed. Some of you probably have some idea what that would be about. And whether he means camping like in a gypsy trailer or the Circuit of Four Seasons in Ritz-Carlton's, I don't know. But he did get back to me and said, say that I have been in very exciting talks with Guillermo del Toro whilst shooting Tintin in New Zealand about the project, and although there is nothing formally agreed, it's looking very likely that I'll be returning to Middle Earth. Sorry, very late. It won't be long before it starts to become more real.
Sunday, we just got our first pictures from the rebuild of Hobbiton. And actually, I believe even on the tours that we do to Middle Earth, you can actually still visit the set.
We all know that John Howe and Alan Lee will be involved with the film, but here's some other names of people that have or will visit New Zealand. We know that Mike Mignola, he's the artist of Hellboy, if you don't know. He's an incredible designer, but he's been there, he's hung out. And John Howe is a name, I hope, if you're in this room, is familiar to you. Sometimes he has works that we don't see enough of, and he's a fabulous talent. And downstairs at the Weta booth right now is a sculpture of smog that John did, which is breathtaking and beautiful. So
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Check it out.
So that's John Howe. Alan Lee is another name that you are all familiar with and well versed in. Happens to also be one of the fabulously nicest people you could ever run across. You can see from the films his imagery and influence. I know you all know that from watching DVDs. Here's Mike Mignola. Guillermo has said that Mignola would be taking a pass at dwarves and goblins, and he's terrific at making unique and creative and distinct monsters. He's a fabulous artist. He's actually here at Comic-Con as well, so if you get a chance to say hi, please do. But Mike's quite a talent.
I find it fascinating that the creator of Hellboy, which Guillermo loves so much and has adapted twice, is now doing goblins and dwarves for him. It's great.
Wayne Barlow is also a talent, and he tends to be really good at making landscapes of hell and alien creatures, which has its place in The Hobbit. You can see how some of those might fit in. A Google search for images will yield a lot of interesting results. If you're under 18, ask your parents first. Especially with Oscar here, he tends to be a little more adult and mature.
Added a few images from this presentation.
But you can see the technical, precision and the vision and just the strength they bring to their work. So it'll be fascinating to see how all that's incorporated. This guy is a comic book artist. There's one of his creatures from Hellboy, and his design before was practical and real. It's pretty cool. And of course, our friends at Weta are also. To say Weta, there's many talented people there. There's a collection of really talented folks that are involved in different projects, so it's a little harder to show you what it does, but really great stuff that we also, you're super familiar with. And then Guillermo works with folks at Spectral Motion who have worked on at least the Hellboy films, if not some other things. And so we've been informed or told that they also may take a pass at some of these design elements. So those are the things we know, things we're sure about, but there's much that is yet murky and cloudy.
Yes, this is the part where we have sharpened our teeth so much over the years. Much of the early few months of our speculation was, will The Hobbit be self-contained as one story in the first film? And then will the second film be all about other history of Middle-earth type stuff pulled from the appendices in the back of the book? When I did a podcast interview 2 months ago with Guillermo, he said, no, not actually. We're going to split The Hobbit right in the middle, and we will finish the story, including going through Mirkwood and the spiders and going to meet the elves and the dragon at the second film. And we thought, well, that's going to be kind of tricky because you're dealing with creating two blockbuster films out of a rather thin episodic children's book from 65 years ago, or however long it was. I know my math is bad. But it is really interesting. In the podcast, Guillermo said, we found a place in the narrative. It makes sense for us to find this pause. It's a natural place to stop. And he said, I can't say more. I'd like to say more, but I can't say more. And so we would like to speculate that, and this is just, crazy rumor idea, but if the ring is introduced and the riddle game is over, when Bilbo makes his escape from the Misty Mountains, I think that the end of the film will be a big master shot pulling back on the Misty Mountains, and you'll hear Andy Serkis screaming his lungs out, Baggins, Baggins, we hates it forever, fade to black.